I call Marama Fox. Nā koe.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Nei te mihi atu ki a koe a oti rā ki te whare. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the sentiments of my co-leader, the Honourable Minister for Māori Development, Te Ururo Flavel, that Te Ture Whenua Māori provides the platform for Māori landowners to assert rangatiratanga over their whenua if they so choose. This bill shows that this party, the Māori Party, and this government in support of this party have faith in our people that they can be the determinants of their own destiny by providing them a vehicle by which to do that. Yes, this bill will not answer all the issues of landlocked land, of ratings, of paper roads, but it is the vehicle and the catalyst by which we will do that in the supporting work program. And now the members of the opposition know that, and yet they still choose to pull out the stick with which to whip us about in order to politicise this argument. And I say that this argument is far too important for politicising and game playing. Yes, we can be concerned that we do it right, which is exactly why you put out an exposure draft. What other piece of legislation in this country in recent history, or if ever, I'm not sure I know of one that has had an exposure draft, that puts out a draft piece of legislation and says, here, pick it apart, tell us what's wrong with it so that we can make the necessary changes to put it back into the House, and then again have further consultation through submissions. And we welcome those submissions, as we welcomed the submissions previously that have helped refine this bill to the point that we have it at today. This is about mana motuhake. It's about putting the power back in the hands of the people and not having a government whip them into shape the way we whip up the conspiracy that goes on around the place that, oh my goodness, we're doing this just so that foreign corporates can come and take our land. Why? Why would we do that? What foolish party would ever put their hand up and do that? And yet that is the very argument that has been purported by people who say we should not be politicising, that we should not be talking about conspiracy theories, that actually they stood up and said, Māori Party are doing this to support the TPP. Well, that's a load of hogwash if ever I've heard it. But let's not get too defensive, because actually there are fantastic things in this bill. This bill is going to help realise the dreams and aspirations of our tupuna, our ancestors, that we can realise potential for our people to assert their aspirations in this country. The principles and the foundation of the new bill, mana motuhake, taonga tuku iho, and whakawhanake, this bill is supported by those things. And here are some principles, 6 important principles. Māori land endures as a taonga tuku iho by virtue of whakapapa. No one is taking that away. No one is trying to overturn that. We are upholding that. Tikanga Māori is central to matters involving Māori land, and yet we debate and argue about how we're going to determine whether tikanga Māori can be adjudicated in a court of law. Well, I say, who cares, actually, because it's about time that tikanga Māori did lead our law. It's about time we challenged the very nature of this government through our tikanga, and not be apologetic for doing so, but find a new way. So have some faith in yourselves, people. That's what this bill is about. Te tiriti o Waitangi is central to the application of laws affecting Māori land. Māori landowners have the right to decide how their land is used. Māori landowners have the right to take advantage of opportunities to develop their land for the benefit of present and future generations of owners and their whānau and their hapu, and that is a good thing. We should celebrate that. This last principle, that disputes involving Māori land should be managed in a manner that maintains and enhances relationships between the owners and the members of whānau and hapu. And this is what this bill endeavours to do. Our people have mourned over the loss of their land. Our people cry over the loss of their land. And yes, I've been in those hui where our people have come in and told us story after story after story of how they have been disenfranchised from their land. But that didn't happen under this bill, this new bill. That happened under the previous bill, and that is why we are trying to change it. And actually, the very Honourable Koro Wetere tried twice to change this bill. My very own whanaunga, Ben Couch, tried to change this bill, but their leadership at the time would not allow them to do it. And finally, we have a party with an independent voice and the guts enough to try and make the changes necessary so that our whānau can have real rangatiratanga realised through this bill. It is a vehicle, it is the beginning, it is not the end. Now let's take a little walk down history lane. Ture Whenua first hui to discuss the changes to Ture Whenua was held with the wānanga of Kaumātua in 1999. 1999, have we rushed into this process? I say no. That hui was attended by Annette Sykes, Api Mahuika, Ben Huna, Bishop Muru Walters, George Thomas, Harry Satchell, Sir Hugh Kawharau, Joe Rua, Kwa Murdoch, Marama Henry, Machu Wiki, Mauri Ora Kingi, Mike Smith, Naka Taiora, Piri Shasha, Rangi Manuel, Raki Hiatau, Riki Rangi Gage, Ruka Broughton Jr., Te Auwe Davis, Toko Renata, Topsy Ratahi, Toro Waka, and William Blake. That's a pretty awesome lineup. And here I'm going to quote verbatim. I'm going to quote verbatim the things that they said for the benefit of this House. These are the things that they expressed 20 years ago. In reclaiming the Māori land tenure system, it was recognised that the autonomy of whānau, hapu and iwi must be respected. It is for those communities to decide for themselves how they will operate and by what means they will control the development strategies for their land use. As one speaker stated, waiho mā ngā ariki o ngā whenua hei kōrero mo tāua whenua. The recent trends of iwi to legislate their constitutions were considered to be attempts to have their mana over their taonga tuku iho recognised and enforced. It was felt that these attempted to ensure whānau, hapu and iwi carry out their role as kaitiaki and to ensure that this would override Pākehā law. I'm still quoting. These are not my words. These are not Tūrora's words. These are the words of our old people who gathered to tell us what they wanted to be done with Te Ture Whenua. It goes on. Should we dismiss them because they're old? I think not. It was also considered that the Māori Land Court should recognise the mana of descent and kinship groups over their taonga tuku iho. Accordingly, the role of the court should be reduced in direct correlation to the strengthening and development of mechanisms to reconstruct a Māori land tenure system. Not my words, not the words of Mr. Flavel, but the words of our old people 20 years ago, and we have debated from that day to this, the changes that we propose under the Ture Whenua. Find a new stick, because this is too important for the politicising and game playing. Our people's lives depend on whether or not we can support them into jobs, into employment, to pull ourselves out of poverty, to pull ourselves out of hardship, so that we are not codependent on this government, but independent of it. And Ture Whenua land reforms is a vehicle only, and it's the beginning. Reading number 1. You've still got 6 months, submissions, Māori Affairs Select Committee to pull it apart and make sure it is the robust document that will help provide that future for our people, and I commend this bill to the House.